Welcome back to Kwanzaa Academy. Today we are gonna start our first lesson, which is we will start by first answering what time is in temporal friction theory. So there we go. What is time? So in TFT, which is temporal friction theory, we define time. We define time to be the physical flowing field which carries existence forward. So this is our definition for time in TFT. Another thing, let me remind you that TFT, which is temporal friction theory, focuses most in time. The pillar of TFT is time. So if time is a flowing field, what observable effects does it impose when interacting with matter? So here now we're gonna look at how this field interacts with matter. What are the consequences? So if we say time is a physical field, then it should interact with matter. So in temporal friction theory, we say time is a physical flowing field that carries existence forward. Then matter imparts this flowing field. So when matter imparts this flowing field, a temporal resistance is induced. Temporal resistance is induced. So let me just try to give you a clear picture of what I'm talking about. We will model this the flow of this temporal field by the flow of a river. So say river, or maybe wait, let me do it this way. So here is the direction of the river. Then here exists matter. So if matter exists here, so matter will interact with this physical field just by imparting its flow. So time will now start to flow towards the mass. Why it flows towards the mass? Because there is a gradient created. Time flows slower here, so time will bend down to the region where it flows slower. Remember, this is matter, for example, planet Earth. So matter imparts the flow of time. When I say matter imparts the flow of time, it means that this is the physical flowing field outside here. Then matter, inside matter exists an internal time. So here this matter has its own internal time at which its processes inside, or the rate on which the rate of processes inside it take place. So the processes inside here doesn't depend on the outside flowing field, depends on the internal time. So which brings us to talk about the categories of time. So in temporal friction theory, we have two categories of time. The first one is the external time. Which is the physical field. Then we have internal time, which is the time or rate. Let me put it that way. Rate at which matters processes. Okay, so this time is the physical field, the internal time, where every part of the universe has this time, and also every part of every kind of matter has its own internal time, except for light. Light doesn't have this internal time because light doesn't impart the flow of time. So the fact that every object has its own internal time, that means it imparts this flow. It imparts this flow. How does it impart this flow? Because regardless of how hard this physical flow can try to evolve matter, but matter will only submit to its internal time. Only submit to its internal time. But it also interacts with this external time. And this external time is what gives us the natural, observable effects when matter interacts with this physical flow. So we remember that Albert Einstein discovered the limit at which any object can, the limit speed at which any object can reach, actually, because Albert Einstein said that to accelerate an object with mass to reach the speed of light, it will require infinite energy. So, which makes it impossible, because in the universe we currently don't have that kind of energy. So in TFT we have using the speed of light as the universal limit. Another thing, if TFT says time is a physical flowing field and light doesn't impart this field, light rides or goes with this field, rides on this field, then this gives us a new concept or a new definition of the speed of light, or why the speed of light is the limit. Because light light does not impart this flow. So light rides on the flow because light is massless. So that tells us that C, which is the universal constant, is not is the speed of light, but it's the speed of time. It's the speed of this physical flow. Because light doesn't resist this flow. Light doesn't resist this flow, just go with the flow. So, and the speed of light, it's the limit speed this flow can provide to any object. Even if on the upcoming lessons we will talk about this thing. We will see why an object with mass can never reach the speed of light. It will never reach the speed of light. So, and this gives us a new definition of mass and inertia. Here in TFT, because of this definition I've just gave you. So, if light doesn't impart or resist the flow of this physical field, just like light, and moves at the speed of this time, at the full speed of this time, of this physical field, but something with mass, regardless of what its mass is, this field can never make it move at the speed of light. So that made us in TFT to define mass as trapped time or condensed time. Then to define light as the pure time, because light is just the pure time. It doesn't impart the time. It just flow at the speed of time. Another thing, we all know that in general relativity, in GR, we say the curvature of space-time, it's what gives us the observable consequences, because matter bends space-time and space-time tells matter how to move. So here in temporal, that tells us that light bends wherever time bends. So I think this is evident to TFT's definition of the speed of time and mass, because if light bends when time bends, so that means time is the medium of light, wherever that medium. So light respects the medium, or light submit to this medium, which is time. Whenever time gets bent, light also bend. So That's how we that's what we can share with you on TFT. So this gave us this equation of motion, which is Vs plus Vt is equal to C. So every object in this planet is moving at this speed, which is C, the speed of light, the speed of time. This is spatial velocity. And this is speed in time. And this is the maximum speed time allows. It's the speed of time. Time is moving at this speed. So if your spatial velocity goes up, you are accelerating in space. This velocity goes down in order for the universe not to exceed this speed. So it goes down. So if this speed is 0, you are not moving in space, then this speed is equal to, if this is 0, then the speed in time is equal to the constant C. So that means you are being carried by time into the future. But if this can't be 0, it rather go down when this velocity goes up. So this can be 0. That will mean if this speed is 0, that will mean you will have no internal time. But then that means you will be massless. You won't have mass if this is 0. Just like light. Light has no mass, has no physical processes experiencing. So that's why light can move at the speed of light. But for anything that has mass, that for example humans, they have their internal time. They have physical processes. The replication of cells, whatsoever that happens inside, it's governed by the internal time of that that person. Yeah, because even though we are human, but our internal time is not the same. It might be approximately equal, but it has a range that it ranges from here. But our physical process happens at different rates. That means our internal time is not the same. So for a human to have a 0 time, to have a 0 time speed, or to have a 0 speed in time, that person has to have no internal time. His internal time has to be 0, so that he or she doesn't impact the flow of time, just move with it. So this is our equation of motion. Vs plus Vt is equal to C. This is our equation of motion. Then we came to define acceleration as the tilt of your weld line. This is our definition of acceleration. Acceleration is the tilt of your world line. So let me express this there grammatically. So this is the river of time, and this is space. So this is the flow. This is the flow of the river. The future is this side. So you can't go back because you can't move back in time. The only thing we can do is just going forward in time or just move diagonally. But you can't move this way because that will mean you will have to stop moving in time. Then you will just... So acceleration is the tilt of your world line. So if you are moving through space at this speed, that means this is your world line. But if you are not moving in space, this is your world line. If you have moving in space at a particular speed, this is your world line, but this is a smaller speed. But this speed is a ratio of the speed of light, which is the speed of time in TFT. So maybe let's say, for example, this is 0.35 c. That will mean this is 35% of the speed of light. Then maybe let's say, so we can determine your acceleration using this angle. Can determine your acceleration using this angle, or your speed through space using this angle. So this angle is 45 approximately. Yeah, let me just say it's 45 degrees. So yeah, it's 45 degrees. So this is 50% of the speed of light. So as your angle increases, because if you are moving at this speed, this becomes your world line. World line becomes this line. So if you are moving, maybe let me say this is 0.85, 85% of the speed of light. So this is 85 not 85 degrees. Okay, this is theta. So now you have tilted your world line to be this line. So this becomes your world line. So if this is your world line, so you have tilted when you were in space, when you were not moving in space, just stationary, your world line was the flow. So this means if the flow is moving this way, when you are accelerating or moving through space, it means you are moving diagonally to the flow. You are moving like this. The flow goes this way. Then if you are moving in space, if you are not moving in space, you are here just stationary, you are being carried by the flow of the river, so you are moving to the future. But once you start moving in space, it means you accelerate diagonally to this time river. You are accelerating, but you are still moving forward. You are still moving to the future, because diagonally means you are still experiencing time, but lesser than an object that is not moving in space, an object that is stationary. So this flow of river cannot allow matter to accelerate or to move perpendicular to it. You cannot move perpendicular to it. If the flow is going this way, then you cannot move perpendicular to it because it's carrying you. So if you, as a person with mass, what's a pen? If you're a person with mass and you are being carried by this flow, so you can't move. So to move diagonally or perpendicular, to move perpendicular to the flow, it will mean you must be like light. It's only light, because to move this way it's like light speed of light. So it means you have tilted your weld line by 90 degrees, of which it's impossible for matter to tilt its weld line by 90 degrees. So this is the only range, 0 degrees to maybe 90 degrees. But as you tilt your weld line and it approaches, okay, let me say as theta approaches 90 degrees, it becomes infinite energy is needed to give you a very small angle change or very small tilt. Remember, this is acceleration. By accelerating, you're just tilting your weld line. So I will express this mathematically so that you can see what I mean when I say if your tilt approaches 90 degrees, you will need infinite energy to accelerate or to make a small change, so you can't reach the speed of light. So in DFT we have these identities that cosine theta, which is the tilt, the angle of tilt, is equal to delta tau, your time experienced by this object as time changes. So cosine theta is equal to delta tau over delta t. Then sine theta is equal to your spatial velocity over the constant c. Spatial velocity, we call it Vs. So we have these identities. So with these identities, we are now going to derive some equations, TFT equations. So having this, we all know the identity which says sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. Then this is our cosine, this is our theta. So we'll build something like delta tau, okay, whatsoever, okay. So to make it easy to follow, our sine is Vs over c squared plus delta tau delta t all squared equal to 1. So this is general relativity's identity. Then now we want to create a Lorentz vector. Lorentz vector using our time river model. Lorentz vector using our river time model. So we know that gamma we know that gamma is equal to delta tau over delta t. Delta tau over delta t, which is equal to made a mistake. Gamma is equal to delta t over delta tau, which is equal to 1 over delta tau over delta t. So we can just, in our language, TFT language, that is equal to 1 over cosine theta, because we say this is our cosine, delta tau delta t, so it becomes 1 over cosine, and then we know that 1 over cosine is just secant theta. So secant theta is equal to our gamma in TFT. This is our gamma. So the angle, the tilt of the angle is the one that determine your gamma, your Lorentz vector. So now we want to express Albert Einstein's E is equal to mc squared. That is the energy possessed by an object at rest. Then we will express the object or the kinetic energy of that object. So in GR, which is general relativity, EK is equal to gamma minus 1 mc squared. So this is general relativity's kinetic energy of an object. So okay, let me also do something that will shock you, or something that will make you curious, something that will make you wanna learn what TFT provides. So in TFT we now, because I told you that we will also define some properties of matter that maybe the world has never defined up to the required degree. So this is mass, which is also the same as initial mass. So in TFT we say this is the amount of resistance. It's the amount of resistance matter provides to the flow, to the time flow So your mass is how much you resist time, is how much time is inside you. How much time is inside you. So we gave it a symbol which is mule with a subscript G. So this is our mass. TFT's mass is this symbol. So why do we say this? Because objects with bigger mass resist this flow, have greater resistance to this flow, unlike objects with lesser mass. They don't resist this flow like massive objects do. So from that concept, we learned that mass is just how much you resist this flow, because light have no mass, because light doesn't resist this flow. Then for other objects that have mass, they resist the flow. So that means mass is just how much you resist this flow. So yeah. So in TFT, we interpret or we rewrite Albert Einstein's famous equation E is equal to mc squared as E is equal to your temporal resistance. This is temporal resistance. It's called temporal resistance multiplied by the speed of time squared. So this is our E is equal to mc squared. Then coming to the kinetic energy once the objects start moving. So because we say acceleration is the tilt of an angle, so this energy will be a function of an angle. So it will be equal to mule temporal resistance multiplied by the speed of light squared into secant theta minus 1. So this will be our kinetic energy of that object. So if you can see, if the object is at rest, it's not moving, then delta is equal to 0, then sec 0 is equal to 1, then this cancels. So that means this gives us back to E is equal to mc squared. So that means the object is not moving. But as theta goes up, the value secant theta also goes up. So we know that secant 90 degrees is a big number, so which makes it impossible to tilt your angle or your weld, to tilt your weld line up with an angle of 90 degrees. That's why when theta approaches 90 degrees, infinite energy is required to accelerate that object. So I think I just gave the mechanism behind that, why objects requires infinite energy when being accelerated, because you will be tilting its weld line. So for now I will just interpret this quickly. So at rest, theta is equal to 0, secant theta is equal to 1, then those ones cancels each other, then ek is equal to 0. So yeah, this will become 0. So when you multiply this part by 0, it's just 0. That means this is kinetic energy, remember? So that will mean the object has 0 kinetic energy. But as you tilt more into space, then your theta goes up, then secant theta goes up as well. Near the speed of light, where theta approaches 90, secant theta approaches infinity, so your kinetic energy approaches infinity as well. So it will cost infinite energy to rotate fully into space. Like rotate fully into space, just move perpendicular to the flow of this temporal river. So now we want to find an equation that can express how much energy is required to tilt your weld line. So we'll have delta ek over delta kinetic energy over delta angle is equal to temporal friction c squared, then secant theta minus so okay, wait, made a mistake. So the derivative of secant theta is equal to secant theta by tangent theta. So this is the derivative of secant theta. So that will mean delta kinetic energy is equal to temporal friction multiplied by c squared, then secant theta by tan theta multiplied by delta theta, because we just multiplied by this delta theta on both sides, so just came this side. So we see that for small angles, for low speeds, secant theta is approximately 1 and tangent is approximately 0. So little energy needed to change to tilt the angle. For large theta relativistic speeds, secant theta and tan theta blow up, then huge amount of energy is required to tilt your weld line, even a tiny bit. So yeah, then we now want to find the speeds of objects, the spatial speed of objects and the speed through time. So have this equation: time velocity is equal to c multiplied by cosine theta, and then spatial speed is equal to c multiplied by sine theta. So using our work energy, equation, we can derive the equation of speed, or spatial speed. So let's derive it together. Is our equation ek as a function of theta is equal to temporal friction multiplied by c squared into secant theta minus 1. So this is like this. So we will now divide by temporal friction multiplied by c squared, even this side, temporal friction c squared. Then we will have ek as a function of theta multiplied by temporal friction c squared is equal to secant theta minus 1. Then we add 1 on both sides. Then we'll have an equation like 1 plus ek as a function of theta divided by is equal to secant theta. So we all know that secant theta is equal to 1 over cosine. So secant is just, or cosine is 1 over secant theta. Cosine theta is equal to 1 over secant theta. We want to express this using cosine. So we'll have that cosine theta is equal to 1 over, this is our secant theta. This is our secant theta. So we'll have 1 plus as a function of angle over temporal friction squared. So this is our cosine. Then now we will go back and look for sine. Remember that cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta equals to 1. Therefore sine is equal to the root of 1 minus cosine 1 minus cosine squared theta. Because remember, using this identity that our spatial velocity has to be c multiplied by sine theta. Then we come back here, we say sine is equal to, so remember sine, remember spatial velocity is equal to constant c multiplied by sine theta. This is our key identity. So now we have this. So we will say sine remember, using this, sine is equal to the root of 1 minus 1 over 1 plus e k as a of divided by c squared this all squared. Yeah, even this one, because this is cosine squared, we can square this one, but squaring this one will do no work because it will still be 1. So we just square the denominator. Okay, we squared the numerator and the denominator, but the numerator doesn't change because it's 1. So we just square the denominator. So we'll have something like this. Remember, Vs is equal to C multiplied by sine theta. So forgot theta here. So this is our sine theta. Then this is our equation. So special equation will just be C multiplied by the root of 1 minus 1 over 1 plus ek is a function of theta right by temporal function theta squared. So this will be our special velocity equation. This is our special velocity equation as well. So I will end here. For more, please subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel. For more, please subscribe to the channel. On the next lesson, we will derive our force and also derive our force in terms of acceleration. So, and see how it reduces to Isaac Newton's second law of motion. Thank you so much, guys. We will keep on learning, but temporal friction is just a developing theory. Still not proven, but I'm just sharing this with you guys on my channel so that you can help me refine it, and so that you can also see what I see. You can perceive the universe the way I perceive. Having you perceiving the universe that way will help me to develop this theory in a much better way. Thank you so much, guys. Please subscribe for more.